Hello ladies, so today we're going to be talking about the biggest dating mistakes that most ladies are making. You will probably find yourself making at least 2 to 3 of these mistakes, and they are not good ones to make whatsoever. I have talked to a lot of girlfriends, and when they tell me these types of stories, to me it seems mind-boggling because some of these things are almost common sense. It's really about knowing your value and dating people that appreciate your value. And honestly, if they don't see it, there is no point for you to even be there. And honestly, if you are doing most of these, that really shows self-confidence, and I want you to understand that type of perspective on why these mistakes are so detrimental not to make in your life. Because every time you make one of these mistakes, you chip away at your confidence and at your worth, and that is not okay, because you are trying to be with a partner who respects you and values you, and any of those things already send a subconscious signal to them that you don't respect yourself. And while you are kind of doing these things in the moment and it seems like a good idea, again, the kind of bar of expectation that you set for yourself drops instantly. So make sure not to do these. Okay, the first and foremost mistake is giving the person your address. Now this goes for the first dates and even until you are serious and exclusive with a person. I don't understand why females think it's completely okay to give the male their address or where they're living. That is so against your safety, and I really recommend that you don't do this under any circumstances, because you never really know a person, no matter how friendly or nice they may seem. Just keep that information, and honestly, most information about you private. And honestly, this doesn't just apply to giving your address in a text message or just for no reason. This also means allowing them to pick you up from your house or allowing them to even send you an Uber to your house. I know this might sound extreme to some, but really safety is your priority, and if you're just giving your address out left and right, then that's really not a good thing to do. I would prefer that you, for your own safety, get your own Uber or a ride, anything, but do not do that. Don't let them get you an Uber there. Don't let them get you an Uber home. I honestly think safety is more of a priority. Now, the second one happens more frequently than not, and it's quite sad, and that is going for a drink as opposed to a real date. Ooh, please tell me in the comments if you have a friend or acquaintance that has had this happen to her. When a man asks you out, if he asks you to go to a coffee shop or just for a drink, especially during very late after hours at 9, 10, 11, 12 p.m., that's a sign for not a date, but for some ulterior motive. I'm sure you can understand what I mean by that. And honestly, that is really disrespectful to you, because you deserve a full real date that requires time and commitment and a good nice place to get to know each other, as opposed to just going for a cheap glass of wine, which is honestly not healthy if you do it all the time. So it just really shows the cheapness of a man, and if that's the case, then there is no reason for you to date a cheap man. Am I right, or am I right? Next one is dating somebody who is simply not worth your time. And I'm sure that you can easily tell they are not. If you have a certain goal in life, if you have a certain direction you want to go, then you kind of know which male will fit your criteria or not. And honestly, there is no point going on a date with somebody you see no future with. I'm not saying you want to marry them just by talking to them over a few text exchanges or however you met, but time is your most valuable and precious resource. And if you are going on a date knowing that this person is, something's off about them, maybe the type of job they have, maybe they're not mature enough for you, maybe you don't like their circle of friends, whatever it may be, just don't waste your time. Especially if you are kind of a high caliber woman and they are not, there's really no reason to fill your empty time periods with these dates It's honestly not going to bring you any benefit. I would reserve those time slots for males that you can actually progress with, as opposed to just kind of filling in your time. This one, my ladies, may or may not be a little controversial, but I strongly believe against this, and it's become more normalized. Of course, probably more for the male kind of benefit, and that is sleeping around. Whether a female gets pressured into this, whether she thinks she has to do it, or the most common scenario tends to be that she likes him and the moment seems good. Whether it's a first date, second date, third date, I might be old-fashioned to say this, but I honestly don't think you should be giving out one of the most valuable things you have to people that you don't really know, to people that you're just getting to know, and especially to anybody who hasn't given you full commitment with their emotion and willing to support you and willing to be the only person that they are seeing. Because other than that, there is no reason to be doing that. That puts you, again, at high risk for certain things, which I'm not going to mention, and also it again brings your value down. Females are very emotional creatures. They tend to get attached. So either way, I've seen a lot of people get hurt by doing this because the moment seems fun and they think this is gonna go somewhere, and they think that if they do this, then the relationship is going to progress faster. But in reality, a man who wants that in the early stages, perhaps he is asking for the same thing from other ladies, and honestly, they're never going to settle down with you or fully commit to you if they have other ladies that they're focusing on, and that's their choice. There's just no reason for you to be associating with men like that, and really just fill your slots with men who appreciate you and are willing to wait and respect you in that way. Honestly, you will see that this really pays off, because if you do that with them, and even if for some reason they're the only person you do that with, they're not gonna believe that. They're gonna think you are kind of sleeping around with everybody you're going on a date with, and that just honestly brings your value and their perception of you lower. And maybe it is 2020 and things are more open and free, but honestly, I think the old-fashioned way is still the best way to go, because you are unique as opposed to all the other people that are willing to give it up on even the first, second, third date, something in the early stages before they're even committed fully to their partner. Or should I say, before their partner is fully committed to them. And not just actually committed, ladies, I do want to make this distinct thing. Not only committed to you, but also supporting you emotionally and financially. Next one is going to their house. Yeah, whether it's the early stages, I understand when you are in a long-term relationship, maybe with somebody, then you kind of go over to each other's house and just kind of hang out. But there's no reason to do that in the early dating stages, because that's going to lead to pressure to do other things. And again, it just shows lack of effort from the men's side to actually plan out something nice and to court you, because that's the whole point of dating. The girl is the one that chooses the male, and there's no reason why you should be going over to their house for a boring date or for a drink especially. That's just tacky, and any man offering that to you, next. Okay, this one you might find interesting, and that is, why are you dating? Are you dating for validation, or are you dating to learn something and to see if this person is a potential match to you? This is probably one of the biggest mistakes, and that is when females tend to fill their time slots with kind of dates because maybe they're feeling lonely or they need that validation. They want an excuse for somebody to court them, which I understand. Pretty much every female wants that, but again, remember, your time is your most valuable resource, and you cannot be giving it away left and right. If you have issues with confidence, with self-validation, then no amount of men in the world are going to fix them. The only thing that's going to fix them is looking inside of you and working on yourself, whether it's your fitness, of course, your mental state, perhaps a business, so you can feel like a strong, powerful, high caliber, defined woman that knows her worth. A woman that goes around dating just for self-validation does not have those empty kind of holes filled in her soul, in her mindset, and maybe in whatever venture she is achieving. So my advice is to honestly focus on yourself, focus on your achievements, focus on your talents, instead of putting the time into seeking validation from all the wrong reasons. and places. Now, there is 2 more on my list. And the next one is getting too attached. So many girls tend to do this. And honestly, my best advice for pretty much all of this is, if you have something you're passionate about, something you're working towards, if you truly know and understand your value, you will have 0 problems with any of these, because you know not to get attached, not to get your emotions crushed, and you're just gonna move on to the next. If somebody shows you the slightest disrespect, if somebody doesn't fit what you are looking for, then you know and you are confident that there are other plenty of fish in the sea. And that is why getting attached is completely pointless to a man that isn't committed specifically 100% to you, and to a man who is not supporting you. Us women, like I've mentioned before, we have very short biological years in terms of what we need to accomplish, for example, starting a family. And you, my lady, don't have any time to waste on men that are not going to get you closer to your goal, and even if you don't want that goal, just to fulfill you as a woman. Don't get attached, just move on to the next. And that brings me to my last point, and that, my lady, is do not dwell. Stop the dwelling, stop the consistently checking your phone and the crying. It is not doing you any favors. If a man is talking to 10 other girls, he is not even thinking about you in that moment, that you're wasting, again, your precious time, which again is your most valuable resource. Just honestly, do yourself a favor and forget about it. If you cannot have a successful conversation without dwelling on why they're not getting back to you, imagine how the relationship is going to be in a month, in a 2 month, in a year. Is this a person that you can trust? Is this a person that you can rely on? No. Basically, what happened is you got attached, and now you're dwelling because the male isn't attached. And why in the world would you be wasting your time on something like this? There is literally no reason. Absolutely no reason. So, those are all of my favorite mistakes that ladies are making during their dating life. And honestly, save your emotions, save your time, put that energy into being a strong, high caliber woman, and everything else will fall to place. Because hey, you attract what you are. That is how it works. That's how the universe is working. So if you're not seeing good matches around, it's time to reconsider, to look internally and see what can you improve on your life, and where can you find attention, which is your own attention to building something greater than yourself, and then everything else will come together, okay? I hope you enjoyed this. Do subscribe for more videos. I post them very frequently, and like this video. I will see you in the next one, wonderful ladies.